Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm here to talk about one of my favorite books, What Happened to Goodbye by Sarah Dessen. And this is one of 13 novels I think she's written, but they're all young adult fiction, and this one is really good. So the main character and the protagonist in the story, her name is McLean Sweet, and she is normal height, strawberry blonde. She depicts someone new every time she moves. So her middle name is Elizabeth. So every time she moves, she switches her name. So one place it's Beth, another place it's Liz, another place it's Lisbeth, another place it's something else, and she is very disappointed in her mother's actions, and she's very protective of her father. The antagonist of the story is McLean's mother, Catherine Hamilton. When her parents get divorced, her mother marries her father's favorite basketball player. And she just, changes her whole life, and she wants McLean to seamlessly fold into it. And she does this whole 180 change, new husband, new house, new kids. And she's just like, oh, just join the ride. And McLean's like, no. She's just tall, blonde, and oblivious. She doesn't even realize how her actions have impacted McLean. She just changed her priorities, she changed her behavior, she changed everything. So there are also a few minor characters you have to learn about. There's Gus Sweet, McLean's father. He works for this restaurant consulting company called Eat Inc. So he kind of understands why McLean needs to reinvent herself, and she's very loyal to him, and he loves her very much, but he's a workaholic. But then there's also Dave Wade, who is her neighbor slash love interest, kinda. And he's just a super brainiac. He's very smart, very intelligent, and he's never been to a public school. This is the first year he's going to a public school, and his parents are frazzled about it, so he's trying to find himself too. So the story starts out with McLean and her father moving to this new suburban area called Lakeview, where he and his company can fix up this restaurant called Luna Blue, and this is her fourth move in 2 years. And she discusses her parents' divorce, and she does a little background about her childhood and saying, how her family used to be and how her family is now and how she's disappointed. So McLean decides to go to this party before school starts, and she almost gets arrested for underage drinking, but Dave Wade saves her, and she realizes that she kind of likes him. And then school starts, and her mother keeps calling her, and she finds out that her father's next job is in Hawaii, and her mother wants her to keep going to this beach house or whatever. And she meets Opal, who is another person who works at Luna Blue, and Opal's working on this town replica, which is very important in the story when you read it. So the conflict really is an internal one within herself, man versus self, and she just kind of is indecisive. She doesn't want to go to Hawaii with her dad. She doesn't want to go to this new beach house with her mom and her new family, her step family. And mind you, every time she's moved, she made some social media account. So when she moves to Lakeview, her friends try to look her up on Facebook or whatever, and they find all of her other social media accounts with all of her other fake names. So they're like, who are you? She's just overwhelmed with all of these feelings, anger, embarrassment, loneliness. So she runs away to this hotel called the Poseidon, which is where she and her parents would always go when she was younger. She has a lot of great childhood memories there, so she just ran away. So she calls Dave at like 2 a.m. and then Dave calls her parents so they can find her. And her parents had no idea how much the divorce had an impact on her at all. She just took it in stride, but really the climax is when she had her emotional breakdown at the Poseidon. And so her parents were there, and they apologized and said how sorry they were and how they were going to get better and every resolution. Let's just say it was realistic. So of course the theme is identity. McLean doesn't really know who she is at all. She makes identities and personalities every time she moves, but the last move really does help her realize and understand who she truly is, and she actually does identify herself. And another theme is change is good, because at Lakeview, that's the only place where they actually know her real name. And as a military kid, I haven't changed my persona every time I've moved, but I have learned more about myself every time I have to change and adapt. And you kind of do feel isolated sometimes, but then you move and meet people that are going through the exact same thing that you're going through. So, you know, it gets better. And Lakeview is the only place where they know her real name. So that's a step too. Okay, so one of the golden lines that I thought were very interesting in the story is right here where it says, "Your past is always your past. Even if you forget it, it remembers you." So that basically sums up the whole book. That describes every character. That's a real life thing too. So yes, I definitely recommend this book to anyone who's moved, military or not, because teenagers moving, it's very difficult, and this book is relatable and it's really funny. Thanks for listening.